Yo, welcome back to John yelling at everything on the internet. Cause that's my favorite thing to do in the fucking world. Anyway, so like I'll debate people on Facebook and they'll send me shit instead of using their own words. And I decided I'll just respond to that on here. But now YouTube thinks I like Ben Shapiro. And the more I learn about the man, the less I do. So, I don't know. Anyway, this is a really annoying video that I saw. So let's go over it.
Ben, I drove 2 hours all the way from Pasadena, California.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
My biggest current concern is we as conservatives do the most horrific job at reaching out to the black community. It's like, it's not.
Well, when your policy as conservatives usually undermines the well-being of the black community, like even if you reach out, it's like anyone who's not avidly against the black community is like, nah, that's fucked up. Why would you be against that? Let's, help the people who have been kind of fucked over by our country's history. Let's, help the people that are statistically getting screwed over most in the justice system. Let's just do some, equalizing for the sake of making America what it claims to be. Shit like that, and then conservatives are like, yeah, but fuck black people. And it's like, no, that's not a policy. And they don't have like actual policies against, and that's why they can say like, oh, I'm not racist, I don't vote for racist policies. It's like, no, but you vote against policies that would very clearly help, people in a desperate situation. And unfortunately, due to our fucking our country's history and our current fucking political, like the way it's being fucking practiced by the police, the fucking judges, the fucking courts, and all that shit, black males in particular get screwed over pretty bad in our country, making it harder for black families to get out of difficult situations which they were put in by the history of our country. Oh my god, I'm getting a little fucking worked up here. But yeah, so like when a party is very animately against helping people who have clearly been fucked over by our country, and it's like, even if you reach out, bro, it's like, I don't like your idea shit. I don't like how you guys work,
Only on us.
Unfortunately, like, if some people are in the position of I got mine, get yours, some people, think there's a lot of reasons why someone might vote against their own interest. And I don't want to go into that because that seems a bit personal on, trying to get into his head, which I don't really care about right now.
But it's the fact that it's like, when we get called racist, we say, well, our fiscal policy is very great.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
That's
I mean,
exactly right.
It's like, instead of calling somebody an asshole for.
Well, you're racist. Well, our fiscal policy, like, that's almost like saying, yeah, but it's like, well, then you are. And it's almost like an admittance in the fucking question itself. And I know he's not like into debating or whatever it might be, but whatever. If he is, that's a huge like admittance right there. But yeah, I mean, you can be for like conservative fiscal policy, but like the rest of conservatism is pretty fucking against. My voice is fucked up today. Yeah, but a lot of conservatism is very racist. A lot of conservatives are, race realists, into racial homogeny and all that shit. Constantly reference Japan as like the greatest place ever, but that's because Japan's pretty fucking racist and doesn't let people of other colors in, and they're trying to be like, oh, we want a majority Japanese thing. And like in America, at least, we're supposed to be like the great melting pot and all that shit, and not owned by one race or idea. And it just kind of spits in the face of what I believe America is supposed to stand for, and has on countless times fought wars and voted multiple times to say that we are. But yeah, anyway,
calling you racist or white supremacist, whatever.
You're speaking my language.
So how do we combat that?
By calling them an asshole. I mean, like, really.
No. All right, let's just be honest. If at any point you call someone an asshole in what's supposed to be an open-minded debate, like, you're the asshole. Like, let's just be straight. This isn't a fucking I know you are, but what am I? But, like, it is projection of, like, you're just trying to call them an asshole so you can't be the asshole. That's all it is. And I know in his head, being called racist or saying you have racist ideas is a assumption of character, and this whole, like, he's one of the people who's like, oh, being called racist is just as bad as the N-word. And it's like, okay, buddy, let's chill the fuck out there. And essentially, I'm a little worked up. No, don't call people assholes in open-minded conversations. If someone says, hey, that statement you just made makes me believe that you hold racist ideas, or some kind of version of that sentence, sometimes it's just, hey, you're racist for that. And I don't believe that's the greatest way to put it. I don't believe we should just sum up people by one idea. I know it's easy to, but essentially just say, no, that is a racist idea, and like attack the idea more than the person, which one is just less confrontational and more productive to the conversation, and two, it's a little less like it's a little more accurate of how people actually think, because most people aren't just walking around being racist. It's just when they are confronted in a situation or put in a situation where the racist option occurs, they usually take it, and that is a bad idea or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Essentially attack the idea, not the person. But yeah, like if someone says, hey, you're an asshole because you think an idea of mine is racist, they're just saying, hey, I wasn't really having an open-minded conversation with you to begin with. I don't care if I am racist. Like, if you're going to say that, I'm just immediately going to go into insult mode, and that's not productive. Like, if someone says, hey, that idea you have is racist, the proper idea is to say, why do you think that? Let's go over what about that statement I just made? What about the idea I just presented? What about that do you think is racist? Because, like, not in a fucking snarky, sarcastic fucking bullshit way, which I know is how Mr. Ben would say it here, but like in an actual open-minded, why do you think that is racist? And if you truly don't believe it is, then you can present your side of why you didn't. Either they misunderstood what you said, either you said it wrong. There's endless possibilities that can help both parties understand where the other is coming from and get down to if an idea is racist, supports racism, or isn't racist. Like, you can get to the source of the misunderstanding. And that's the proper way to go about a fucking conversation. When people say that's racist, they're not just that's not their version of calling you an asshole. That's their version of assessing an idea and saying that it has these implications on society, which we have deemed as racism. That's all it is. And like, to be like, hey, you're an asshole because you said I have an idea that's counterproductive to society. when we're having a conversation about being productive in society. It's like, were you really here to talk in the first fucking place? Were you really here to have a discussion? Or are you just here to, like, you know, have a mental flex and be like, oh, me smart man, you dumb, fuck you, haha, and, like, hold on to whatever fucking ideas you already had? And, like, that's the problem with conservatism and conservatives too, is they usually argue backwards. And I don't have a problem with religion. A lot of religious people don't do this either, but I would also argue they're probably not as religious as they say. But, you know, that's a different conversation. A lot of religious people just have their ideas told to them and then work backwards from there and use a lot of fucking... And it leads to conservatism because a lot of religious ideas are conservative, depending on which parts of the books that you read, even though almost every religious text has been fucking changed multiple times and edited to either whitewash or fucking just, you know, be an asshole to women. Like, there is a lot of that in the Bible. And funny fucking story, I actually read the Bible. It's pretty fucking stupid. Anyway, these cigars suck. Anyway, don't call people an asshole if you're actually interested in having an open-minded conversation.
That is the actual answer. If someone calls you a racist without evidence, this makes them technically, in the dictionary parlance, an asshole.
Without evidence? What does that mean? Like, he thinks, like, racism is, like, something you sit down and document. Like, today I had a prejudiced remark against a black man in the store. The day before that, I belittled a Chinese man. Like, it's like, no, that's not quite how racism works. Like, we're not breaking into your house, finding your journal, and being like, oh, see, you admitted you're racist here. That's evident. Like, that's not how a conversation works. We're not looking for evidence. If you state an idea that has racist connotations, racist implications on society, it's a racist idea. And if someone says that, it's just an observation. It's them trying to address that some idea you hold is counterproductive to the well-being of other people. That's not, like, there's not evidence to that. It's like, oh, I like the color blue. And someone's like, oh, you're a bluist or some shit. And I'm like, oh, you have no evidence. And it's like, that's a bad example. I'm trying to fucking think of something. That's a weird one to try to think of an example for. Yeah, essentially, like, it's not... People saying that you're racist isn't their way of shutting down the conversation. If anything, it's a way of trying to, you know, progress the conversation to point out what ideas have what implications. And you just being like, oh, you're an asshole, is like, okay, well, are you an adult? Or if we're just going to stand around and call each other names, like, we can do that. I don't see how that's beneficial to society in any fucking way. Says the battle rapper. Hey, if it rhymes, it's cool. But no, like, if you go into a conversation trying to be open-minded and have a actual conversation, and you're just like, you're an asshole because someone assesses your ideas in a certain way, it's like, okay, well, where do we go from there? Nowhere. Like, you just say, why do you think that? And then, oh, funny story, you can progress the conversation and talk about why an idea might be racist.
Like, it really, and it's not appropriate to have a conversation. If someone calls you a racist with no evidence, your proper response should not be, well, that's reasonable, let's have a conversation about this.
Yes, it is. Like, okay, if you're having a conversation about fiscal policy, well, fiscal policy that has nothing to do with, you know, demographics or racial divides and all that shit. If you're having like a conversation completely irrelevant to race and someone says you're a racist, then yeah, you can be like, okay, well, that's not relevant. I still don't see where you would call them an asshole. You would just say that's not relevant to the conversation. But if you're having a conversation about race and someone says that's racist, that's usually the premise of the conversation, is it not? And then when it's like you're shutting down the conversation for the conversation being itself. It's just not a sensible fucking thing. And it essentially just fucking alludes to the idea that he thinks being called racist is a moral indictment and like, hey, that's racist. Oh, so you think I'm a horrible person who's like gonna eat all your babies and whatever. I don't fucking know. And it's like, no, you just hold ideas that are counterproductive to the well-being of a certain demographic of people. And, you know, we can have a conversation about that, which, if it came up, is what we were probably having a conversation about to begin with. So you saying like, oh, what do you do? Just have a conversation about it when you're having a conversation about it? It's like, yes, we're talking about it, and that's why it came up. So let's talk about it. It's just, this is a very out of the way of saying, like, I'm going to hold my ideas and I don't care what the implications are on society. And if you try to address my ideas as counterproductive to other people in any way, I'm going to call you an asshole. Like, it's just like, okay. I mean, at that expense then, we can just, we can vote in ways that screw over Jewish people, which Ben is Jewish. I'm not anti-Semitic in any way. And then be like, well, you know, that's just our opinion. Why are you being an asshole? And like, dude, it's like basically gaslighting an entire demographic of people. It's like, why are you being an asshole? Because we're not, like, you know, giving you the proper rights or respect of a citizen in our society. Why are you being such an asshole? It's like, oh my god, dude, this is gaslighty, childish bullshit. And that's what's so fucking aggravating about talking to people like this, is like, they're not having a conversation. They're not trying to actually address ideas that they have or are spreading. They're just there to fucking, you know, say horrible things and be like, yeah, I have the right to say that. It's like, yeah, you have the right to say that, but I also have the right to tell you why that's a stupid thing to fucking say. And then you being like, oh, there's an asshole, when we're supposed to have an adult conversation. It's like, okay, well, like, if we're going that route, why don't we just have a fight? Why don't we go outside and box over it if we're just gonna, oh no, that's barbaric. Oh, okay, so name calling's highbrow, smart people shit. That's, you're an asshole. Oh, fucking intellectual god over here. No, at that point, if you call me an asshole because I'm trying to have an open-minded conversation with you, at that point is like, why don't we just punch each other? Shut the fuck up, dude. You're not smart. You're just a prejudiced little piece of shit. You're not and this is what fucking aggravates me the most, is like, they will go out of their way to like fucking enrage you this way, and then they'll use your aggravation as like a way to gaslight you too. They'll be like, see, why are you mad? It's like, because you're not being fucking logical, and you have an actual effect on society. So like, yeah, it's aggravating to see someone not use actual open-minded, good faith logic and just being, yeah. I'm getting a little fucking heated here.
Because once you do that, you've acknowledged that a reasonable person might think you're a racist, which means you're a racist, right, in the minds of the public. So you actually have to.
That's it, dude. He doesn't. Oh, in the eyes of the public, you are now a racist. It's like, all right, maybe we should have a conversation and not worry about our fucking PR. You know, if that's your only goal, you shouldn't be having a conversation about politics or anything, because you're not having a good faith conversation. You're just trying to appeal to the masses to look right. And that's not what you're like. It's not about looking right. It's about taking what is right, bringing it to the eyes of the public, and explaining why what is right is right. And you're, oh my God, like, he's just basically admitting, don't have a real conversation. It's about, working the PR at all times and making sure that the public doesn't label you a certain fucking way. And then as long as you're not labeled a racist, everything you say is right. It's like, no, that's not how that fucking works at all. What are you even talking about? We're trying to have like open-minded, real fucking conversations, and you're playing this fucking ego game, trying to like sell your name to the public. And it's like, dude, that's not productive to anything we're fucking talking about. Are you having a good faith conversation? Clearly fucking not. And it's so fucking aggravating. And then, I don't know.
Have to create a basic mutual assured destruction, which is they call you a racist, you say, no, you're just a jerk, right? And then, do you want to actually have a conversation about policy, or you want to name throw? Because I think
you're an asshole. What do you want to do? Name throw? It's like, dude, you're the one calling fucking names. We're addressing ideas as fucking racist. Racism is a fucking problem. Like, oh my God, like the level of gaslighting that people like this do is insane. And it's just like, they'll call you a name and then try to be pretentious and be like, oh, are you just going to call names? Calling someone racist or calling an idea racist is not the same thing as just calling names. It's actually addressing the implications of ideas on society. That's not the same thing as saying you're an asshole.
I think you're ugly also.
So
And by the way, you're ugly. At that point, dude, just punch. If someone goes to this, punch them in the fucking mouth. I don't care if I'm fucking, like, supporting violence at this point. They're horrible people, and they're not having a conversation in good faith. They have no interest in actually talking about it. They have no fucking interest in actually helping people who are in trouble in fucking, like, horrible situations in life. Dude, the fact is, Ben has probably never in his fucking life actually seen what it's like to live in the inner city, where it's fucking, like, just shit, where police are fucking practically at war with you, and like, if you protect yourself in any fucking way, you're villainized, and if you don't, you're basically taken advantage of at all times and extorted by fucking people who are saying they're there to protect you. He's never fucking been there and seen the economic fucking implications of the fucking, like, policies that are in place and how they're actually fucking, like, affecting people. Like, he doesn't. And, like, I'm sorry, I got a little fucking heated. I knew I was, but, and it's just like, and people are fucking in horrible situations, and I can show you the fucking statistics about that, how the fucking, like, how police are just on average more aggressive towards black males for no reason, for fucking the judicial system giving black males the harshest penalties and white women the least harsh penalties, and, like, just all these statistics that can prove that systemic racism actually fucking exists. And yet you just say, no, you're an asshole. Do you want to talk about the policy? And it's like, yes, that's what I'm trying to do by addressing the racist ideas that you are spreading.
So how do we reach out to the black community?
So, I mean, I think
not by
I
calling
think the way to
them
reach out to the black
assholes
community is
after
the same way that you reach out
gaslighting.
to everybody, which is telling them the truth. I think the message to the black community should be, listen,
By telling them the truth. Yeah, tell them the truth. But the truth isn't on your fucking side, bro. Like, there are statistics showing that systemic racism fucking exists. And the second that we try to address that, you just say, oh, you're an asshole. You're not interested in the fucking truth. Shut the fuck up. This level of gaslighting is so fucking infuriating.
America is not going to get in your way. And as I said before, we will stand with you every step of the way if someone is trying to get in your way, but you have to show me the person trying to get in your way. I think that we should be doing a better job as conservatives of going into...
Okay. There are statistics that show that. Funny fucking story. Having a black sounding name makes it, I believe, like 3 times harder to get a job. Just because jobs don't call you back for having a fucking black sounding name. And they've fucking done the studies. They've made fucking equal papers with the same exact fucking credentials. Same exact fucking, like, everything. What's it called? You know, the forms you fucking fill out. Blah, blah, blah. And, too angry to remember words right now. And, like, the study shows that, like, just having a black name makes it 3 times harder to get a job. And that's due to social racism. Nothing to do with the fucking person, nothing to do with the actual credentials, just the fucking name itself makes it harder to get a job. And then his argument is, well, just start naming them whiter. And it's like, dude, go fuck yourself. Like, what if someone was like, you know, no, you're not allowed to have Jewish sounding names. That's Nazism. Yeah, we fought wars against that, and you're basically supporting the same fucking idea, you piece of shit. Oh my god. Oh, that was just one? We can keep going. Oh my god. Fucking, what about the vast under fucking funding of schools and fucking infrastructure in areas that are predominantly black? What about how gerrymandering has gone out of its way to basically draw lines around black areas and then just don't give them funding? What about that? What about how they purposely go out of their way to make voting in black areas extremely difficult compared to white areas? What about, like, there's so many fucking things that just point to systemic racism and social racism in America being a huge problem. And I mean, we can talk about that, but no, you're going to take that as me calling you racist and just call me an asshole.
Inner cities and saying to kids, here is a, like, I actually would like to do this. Go into inner cities and set up a scholarship fund and say, if you get these grades, we will pay for your college. And major companies should do this. They should say, we'll pay for your college. You work for the company for 4 years. And so the job is guaranteed coming out. But a social structure has to be achieved. And sometimes that has to be done artificially. Because right now,
What? Okay, dude, he's just pulling shit out of his ass. Like, maybe if you get the, like he's a parent. Oh my god. And then, like, what he just pitched was low-key socialism, which he hates socialism, but yet he offhandedly advises socialist ideas when encountering that. Like, it's like, dude, he doesn't even have a solid, like, belief system. When it's convenient to be against socialism, he's against it. When it's convenient to be for it, he's for it. When it's convenient to say racist shit, he'll say it. When it's convenient to not be racist, he'll be like, oh, you know, racism's fucking, like...
biggest problem in a lot of black communities that there's no real social structure as far as a 2-parent family where they're telling the kids, go to school, get an education, and you'll succeed in America.
Okay. This shit fucking aggravates me, because, like, they'll say shit like that, but then they won't go over, like, the reasons why that is. One, he's probably using a study basing it more on marriage than actual 2-parent households, and then saying all the unmarried couples are not 2-parent households or whatever the fuck, and counting that in his favor when that's not the case. And one, like, marriage is expensive. Not everyone believes in marriage. Like, there's plenty of reasons why, like, people wouldn't get married. And then to use that as, like, saying, oh, they're not a 2-parent house is just deceiving and misrepresenting the statistic. And then on top of that, he doesn't address the fact that, again, police kill a lot of black males. Black males are statistically put in prison for things they didn't do way more often than any other demographic. There's the fucking fact that they get harsher sentences. Like, there's actual things affecting directly black males, and then he's like, oh, well, why aren't black males in the house? It's like, dude, they're getting killed and stolen. Like, what are you talking about? It's the most gaslighty shit in the fucking world. It's like, I don't know, they do nothing about, like, actually addressing that black males are being killed and taken from their families by the fucking justice system, and then they turn around and make black males seem like horrible fucking people because they're not there for their children and, or some fucking, oh my god. And it's just like, dude, you're a fucking asshole. Like, as if black people are just like, you know what, fuck kids, I'm not gonna. It's like, no, dude, that's the most dishonest bullshit way of like characterizing an entire demographic of people. Like, maybe some black people feel that way, a lot of white people feel that way. Like, there are plenty of not great parents or just people who didn't take responsibility. But then, like, if we're going to go into the actual statistics of why that's so much more relevant in the black culture, it's because of, I know he hates addressing, systemic racism, actually killing and imprisoning people wrongly. Like, yes, it all ties back into the problem that we're trying to fucking address. And now you're just gonna call me an asshole again because I tried talking about the situation that you fucking brought up. And it's like, you're not interested in a conversation, you're interested in demonizing a set of people and just fucking then not doing anything about the fact that they've been fucked over in our country and continue to be fucked over in our country.
Right now, well over 70% of black kids are born out of wedlock. Very difficult to have a very successful social structure.
Out of wedlock. See, not single parents, and he's using that as like they're interchangeable. Out of wedlock doesn't mean that the parents abandoned the child or that it's a single parent household. It just means they didn't get married because, again, marriage is expensive. Marriage is fucking not something everyone believes in. I'm sure I can love someone and not be married to them. I don't see a difference of like the whole little ceremony and blah, blah, blah. That's not a fucking thing. He's essentially just saying like, at this point, he's not really saying anything other than he doesn't like black people. And he's just, and the second you point that out, you're the asshole. It's like, no, dude, you're blatantly saying these things. Well, not blatantly saying, you're heavily implying it, and then just pointing out your implications makes me the asshole. Okay.
When a lot of the guys that you know have abandoned their kids or are in prison. And that's an individual decision by a lot of bad people.
You see what I'm fucking saying, though? Like, he blatantly just says, like, yeah, black people abandon their kids. Don't call me racist or you're an asshole. It's like, bro, you're saying the most fucked up, horrible... You're saying racist shit, fam. Like, I don't know how else to break this to you. What you just said is fucking racist. We can go over the fucking prison thing, as I already did. We can go over how fucking crime follows poverty, and that's going to circle back to fucking systemic racism as well. Any way we go, it's going to circle back to systemic racism. I promise you, I can have this conversation with you all fucking day. It's not that goddamn hard. It's just the gaslighting bullshit.
Making a lot of bad decisions. So, I think that the best thing that we as conservatives can do is not lecture to the black community about, all the things that the black community does wrong. But we can say is, look, we can also...
After he just got done demonizing the black community for what they did wrong.
Sit here bitching and moaning about how the United States is a terrible place. And the Democrats will be happy to do that with you all day. They will. They'll be...
I hate conservatives. They're horrible people. When they complain about America, it's them doing their patriotic duty. When someone else complains about America, it's like, oh, get out of America. It's like, go fuck yourself, dude. Your problems aren't the only fucking problems that need addressing. Just because someone says there is an issue in America is not a reason to say, well, you have to leave. One, most people cannot afford to just up and move to another fucking country. So that's already an ignorant, bullshitish statement. And then two, it's like, we're all all of us, including you, have complained about something in America, being an American, wanting to see a change in America. Like, all of us, every single fucking person. No one is just blindly jerking their way through America happy as fuck on every single thing. Like, I actually kind of like America for certain things over other countries. I wish we can change the fucking systemic racism and the fucking other shit that we have problems on, but that's because I actually want to help the country. And, like, no, that's me hating the country. It's like, no, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, me addressing an issue is no different than you addressing an issue. And then it's just gaslighty bullshit, too. It's like, hey, there's an issue that keeps a demographic from having a fair chance at, economic comfort. Oh, why do you hate America? It's just like, that's not what we're saying. Yeah, you hate America. Stop gaslighting and talk about it.
Be happy to sit here and bitch and moan and then go to Washington, D.C. and do nothing for you. Nothing for you. But if you actually want to succeed, here's how we're going to succeed. We're going to sit down right now, and I'm going to make with you right now, individually, a success plan for you. And if you stick with this plan every step of the way, I guarantee you that by the time you're 25 years old, you won't be living in a hovel. You're going to be living in a nice apartment in a decent area with a job.
No, dude, you couldn't do that with a white person. What the fuck are you talking about? You can't give a white person a plan and say, if you stick to this, you will definitely have this outcome. That's not how that fucking works. No one can do that. So that's already stupid as fuck to say. And then on top of that, what he's basically implying, and I know he didn't outright say it, but let's imagine his little, social planner here. It's just gonna say, act white. Step 1. Have a white name. Step 2, just be white as fuck. 3, if you can change your skin color, even better, just be white. 4, white. That's all his plan's gonna be. And he's not gonna outright say that. He's gonna say, like, oh, just fucking have names that blend into society and shit like that. Like, he's gonna word it in a fucking a not racist way, but the implications of his little planner are basically going to say, stop acting like black people and start acting like white people. And that it's just like, okay, and we're not allowed to call you racist. Why? Like, go fuck yourself, bro.
Job. I guarantee you that's what's going to happen. It has to be done not on a governmental level, on an individual level. Because here's the thing, we're all either dependent.
And that's annoying too, is like, you're basically telling people who are getting, it's almost like victim blaming at that point. Is like, well, what did you do to get fucked over? It's like, what? Like, that's not how that works. Like, we're trying to address the actual, like, policies and all this shit and the implications of how things work in society. You're just being like, well, why are you getting screwed over by the government, though? It's like, bro, that's not how that works. What the fuck are you talking about? It's just gaslighting bullshit. He's essentially, that is just a rerouted way of saying it's black people's fault that they got fucked over in America because he thinks black people are just, socially inept or some shit. Like, I don't know.
Dependent on government, or we're dependent on capitalism. And so we have to make people dependent on capitalism again. We have to make people dependent on markets again and on freedom again.
What? Capitalism has nothing to do with this fucking conversation. We can be a capitalist or socialist society, which we're a combination of both. Sorry to fucking break that to you. But, yeah, this conversation has nothing to do with capitalism. Like, maybe we can talk about the implications of how capitalism has fucked people over and how it's being used to fuck people over. Again, this is going to circle back to systemic racism. Like, I know you keep just reaching in every fucking direction, but no, you're just saying bullshit to say bullshit. And even on your bullshit, I can call you and be like, well, if anything, if that does connect, it's going to connect to my side. I'm sorry about that, buddy.
Again, and not on government again.
Can I shake your hand?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the fucking video. Oh my god, like, I don't know. I got a little more heated than I wanted to, but like, it's just when the whole argument
Albion
is...
Online is a sun.
Shut the fuck up, I hate ads. When the whole argument is just a fucking diet gaslight on an entire demographic of people, it's like, bro, that's racist. Oh, so calling things racist makes me an asshole. Well, then what is racist? Like, how do we address racism then, if we're not allowed to call anything racist? Especially when it clearly fucking is. I don't know. And again, this is like who conservatives hold up as like Mr. Smarty Pants Wright McGee, and is like, no, he's just an insecure little fucking racist. I don't care anymore, dude. I'm like, sometimes like I'm trying to like promote how to argue with them in a nice way, but it gets so fucking frustrating. I know I said punch them earlier. Probably don't. But I would understand. They're horrible fucking people, man. Yeah, don't punch people. I take that back. Probably for legal reasons, but... yeah, don't be racist. Don't punch people. Don't call people assholes in the middle of a conversation that's supposed to be open-minded. If someone says an idea you hold is racist, ask why and have a conversation about it, because that's how you get to the bottom of what is and isn't racist. Other than that, go fuck yourselves.